Check this out. The guy brought in some professional gear. The main job is to take over this fish pond right in front of him, because when the guy was passing by, he heard a huge noise coming from the pond. To find out what was going on, what kind of creature was hiding inside the pond, early today he gathered his crew and started cleaning out the pond. This fish pond right here had been abandoned for a very long time. It was not only full of trash, but also had plenty of dead leaves and branches. The overall condition and water quality were pretty poor. After their simple initial cleanup, they found a lot of coconut shells, and they had turned black from sitting in the water. After clearing a small gap, the workers started setting up the water pump, getting ready to drain this pond, since the equipment was pretty advanced. Once they turned on the power, it could pump the water right out. While the water was being pumped out, the villagers started dealing with the weeds around the edges. That way, at least later on, it wouldn't look so messy. This would also help improve the water quality in the pond, and maybe there would be even more fish inside. You can see all around the pond, it was already piled high with weeds. Luckily, there were quite a few people on site, so the overall cleanup went pretty fast. To get this fish pond cleaned up, these villagers used all kinds of methods. After all, this area had been abandoned for way too long, which meant there were a ton of weeds in this spot, and behind the pond there was also an unfinished building. Only by cleaning up all the weeds here could they get a complete and clear view, because this place was too close to the village. Otherwise they would have just set everything on fire and burned it all down. So now they had to use more traditional methods to clean up. Even though this pond didn't look very big, after pumping for so long, the water level hadn't dropped that much. For now, the main focus was still clearing the weeds around the edges. Even the bank was covered with a thick layer of weeds. From the looks of it, the difficulty of the cleanup had increased quite a bit, and while clearing weeds along the edge of the pond, they unexpectedly found a wasp nest, which really stung the villagers up badly. Luckily, with the workers continuing to clear things out, the area around the pond did get a lot cleaner. They left the actual cleaning of the pond for last, since the water in the pond still hadn't gone down much, so they still had to wait a while longer. Looks like taking over this fish pond has a pretty high cost. To take over the pond, they first had to clear out all the weeds around it. With them continuing to clean up, they have now moved to the other side of the pond. Once this side is almost done, the water in the pond will be mostly pumped out too. With the experience from the earlier cleanup, the pace is now much faster, and the tools they are using are getting bigger and bigger. The main issue is that there are large logs inside the weed piles. If they didn't clear these weeds, they wouldn't even know what was inside. Thanks to the water pump, the water in the pond is getting less and less. The shoreline cleanup is also entering its final stage. You can see that inside this pond, the mud is really deep. That's because for many years, no one had cleaned it out. Before the water was completely drained, the villagers already managed to catch some fish. By this point, the villagers had already jumped into the pond without waiting any longer, and started exploring just how many fish were in there. Meanwhile, the workers on the shore also started speeding up their cleanup, because everyone wanted to get into the pond and experience the joy of catching fish. But for now, they had to split up, because the weeds along the shore were still pretty thick, so they could only let some people go into the pond, while the rest kept clearing the weeds along the edge. The situation on the bank was also unusually complicated, with all kinds of branches and trees tangled together. It really wasn't easy to clean up, but with all their hard work, they have reached the final stage. Who would have thought such a small pond would have such dense weeds growing around it? But with them continuing to clear it out, it is now a lot cleaner. By now, many villagers have already gone down into the pond and started searching through it to see if there were any other big catches inside. In a pond with mud this deep, there are usually quite a few snakeheads hiding inside. To catch more fish, the villagers went into full search mode, digging through everything. You can see several villagers taking turns, not leaving any corner unchecked. At this point the catch was being tossed onto the bank one after another. Most of what they caught today were snakeheads. The entire pond was turned upside down by the villagers, and in the end this was all the fish they got, but they did manage to successfully clean up both sides of the pond.